All right, so after the lower intermediate, let's quickly check the intermediate. Another historical battle between the team Alpha and team Bravo. So who we got here? So second challenge of the day. So it's pretty much the same thing, right? The same layout. Alex, Camila, and Kaini versus Daria, Octavian, Andrea, Florin, Fiz, and Jiyun. So will it be a new victory for the team Alpha? It will be like 10 in a row, something like that? Or will it be the first one for the team Bravo? So average score on the beginner level for team Alpha is 98. It's even better, right? That's pretty spectacular, I'm afraid. And now this time, Alex is leading the pack with 99.2 points. But now, team Bravo, what's their score here? Oh, it's even better, right? How come you got better score on the beginner than lower beginner? That doesn't really make sense.
It's so easy to make mistakes on beginner.
Yeah, I think there's two reasons. I agree with Alex. It's easy to make mistakes on beginner, and also timing is not the same. So I think on lower beginner, if you take more than 2 minutes to answer a question, you get a penalty. On intermediate, it's like 3 or 4 minutes. Anyway, that was a brave effort, guys, from both sides once again. So then let me have a look to the upper beginner. It's not looking that great, yeah? 2 players just solving 3 out of 5 questions. So let's check the layout again. So who's been playing here? So team Alpha, the same. Oh, it's just 3 versus 3, right? That's a good battle. Alex, Camila, and Kaini versus Daria, Andrea, and Octavian. Upper beginner. So, Team Alpha, score. Ooh, look at the elegance. Oh, they got some penalties here. So, will this be a good opportunity for Team Bravo to defeat them? You know, Daria is going to score like 98 or more, right? So now it's up to Andrea and Octavian. What do you think? No? Yeah. So will it be the first victory ever for Team Bravo or not? It's not. Clearly, she's helped a lot. Yeah. Anyway, that was good effort. Daria, if you're listening next time, keep following the Bravo team and see if that helps. All right, so that was about beginner, right? Let me quickly check on the intermediate where things got a bit more complicated, right? I mean, on the upper intermediate, this is just our favorite Russian friend. So let me just show the result. Yeah, it's good. She failed one of the questions. We may review it. Look at the accuracy, right? I mean, she's played like 12 challenges in 30 minutes. So you can see she's getting tired, right? Clearly. All right, so apart from that, so first of all, lower intermediate, you know what that means, right? People playing in Street Fighter mode, just selecting options randomly. All right, so Alpha versus Bravo. So what we got today here? So players. We'll find out. All right, so to balance the energies, this power, Juraj joining this Alpha team from Slovakia, and then we got Camila, Alex, Anita, and Chuck versus Daria. Oh, look. Oh, you got a very good support there. Yeah, this guy is like top 20 or something, or even more than that, right? So one of the top players of the platform supporting the team Alpha, and also Andrea, yeah, who is also one of the top players of the platform. I mean, all Imperial Majesties, right? I mean, that at this stage of the journey, all these guys belong to the top 10%, I think top 200 or something like that. Yeah, okay, cool. So average score of the team Alpha on the lower intermediates, 88. That's pretty cool, guys. That's pretty cool, right? So you can see Juraj leading the pack, and then Camila, Alex, and Anita. And then on the team Bravo, Daria, Javier, and Andrea. Oh, that was super close. And actually, it's really good performance, Andrea. Yeah, that was really good. Nice one. Well done, guys. Say it again?
This girl, she's scoring really well.
Yeah, she scores really well. Yeah.
Does she have a job?
Yeah. She's
She's at 40, she's playing now. She could get a job.
And finally, this is going to be quick. On the intermediate level, we got essentially like 2 people. So it will be, I mean, we're going to find out very quickly, right? So we'll see who's been playing here. Is it any of you here? Oh yeah, it's Anita versus Javi, right? So Anita. So you have all the pressure to keep a full house for the Team Alpha, right? Yeah, you are the whole team. All right. So, average score of the Team Alpha. This is not going to look good for you, right? 12 points, and then someone, our Galician friend, scoring 55 points. Technically speaking, that doesn't count, right? Because you haven't played. Technically speaking, to me, it's 12 versus 0. No. All right.
We need to go to Spain to give Javier.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Cool. Well done, guys. And then, as promised, we're going to spend the next 33 minutes once again only reviewing 2 challenges. The upper beginner and lower intermediate. Any of the guys who has played upper beginner, do you want to look any particular question? I'm going to do the dates. All right, so let's do dates. It's a good question. I mean, I'm not a big fan of dealing with dates. I'm sure you are not big fans neither, but I think it's an important topic, right? I mean, the challenge was not particularly complicated, but yeah, I mean, questions about dates are always a bit special. Can I play? Yeah, go for it.
How common do you have to deal with dates?
Well, it depends on the company you're working for, right? If you're working at train line, probably you will have to deal with dates very intensively, yeah? But if imagine that you love dates, let me recommend you something. So there is a very good library out there called moment.js. So this is sort of de facto standard. If your project is very heavy regarding dates, that tool is very useful because essentially it simplifies the process of adding minutes, removing hours, time zones, even things like that, right? All right, cool. So we're not going to go that far today. Let me try on mobile, see if it works. We had some issues last week. Let's see if now it works fine or not. That's still experimental, as you already know, guys. So, all right, cool. So that was question number 4. Here you go. So get minutes. We got a function called get minutes. How many arguments the function receives? 1, 2, 3, 4. Why 1? What type of data the argument is? It's a date. But are you sure it's only 1? What is that number then? As far as I can see, guys, the new minutes function receives 2 arguments. Yeah? It goes without saying that if you are trying to solve a problem and you are unable to identify the number of arguments the function has, you won't be able to solve the problem. Yeah? It's as simple as that. So first things first. The getMinutes function receives 2 arguments, a date and a number. What the number represents? Number of minutes, right? That's right, Guillaume. So, in other words, we have a date, for instance, the 10th of January of 2023. So then we want to add, it's 11 a.m., so we want to add 30 minutes. So on the new resulting time will be 11:30, right? So what are the resulting minutes of the new date? 30. Likewise, if the time is 25 past 11 and we add 20 minutes, what are the resulting number of minutes? 45, correct. But let's look at the last example. That's the most difficult one. If time is 5 to noon and we add 10 minutes, what is the new number of minutes? How many? That's correct. So the number of minutes is 5. Yeah? If you look at your digital clock, the number of minutes will be 5. Yeah? Because it will be 5 past 12. All right. So that's pretty much the problem. Let's try to build a solution. So first of all, give me a name for the first argument. Date. I like it. I don't like much that I cannot type anymore. Yeah. So this is one of the things that is not working as expected. Let me. Not really, because the algorithm did that for you already, as you can see in a minute. So you see, you are receiving the new date. Yes, that's why it didn't work. Right, guys, I don't know why it's not working, so I need to go back to desktop mode and do the zoom in and everything, yeah? Yeah, so I will investigate the problem later on today. Cool, so let me refresh. And then let me select question number 3, I believe. Get the list of characters. All right, no, not characters, sorry, the next one. We used to have a progress bar here, guys. Do you remember the progress bar?
Yes.
It's gone, right? I broke the code. That's my fault. All right, so get new minutes. So now we got the date. Fantastic. And now give me a good name for the next argument. Minutes. All right, minutes is fine. However, that's a bit personal, but if I read a variable called minutes, yeah, that's the number with minutes. But in reality, that's the number of minutes I want to add. That's not the new number of minutes I want to have, right? In other words, in the second scenario, if I call it minutes, I may be tempted to think that the new time should be 20 past 11. But that's not what we want to do. We want to add minutes, all right? Yeah, or minutes to add, yeah, whatever, yeah? Add minutes or minutes to be added, something like that, yeah? All right, cool. So now, the first thing is to know how many minutes do we have? 20, 10, whatever. So in JavaScript, out of a date, can anybody tell me which method tells you the current minutes of the time? Get minutes, that's right. Minutes. So that will, let me create a new variable, like current minutes. So how many minutes I have now? Whatever. Yeah, for instance, 20. All right, so now, I want to add the new minutes. So can we create a new variable called, for instance, new minutes? And then what?
Current minutes.
Correct, current minutes plus minutes to be added, yeah? So for instance, if I got 20 and I want to add 30, as an example, I will return 50, yeah? So now, can I just return that? No, why not?
Because when we add, for example, get minutes was something 40. If we add 40 and maybe
30?
30, then it would be something more than 1 hour, and
Yeah.
it would read 70 minutes, which
Correct.
is not the appropriate way to display the number.
Exactly. What time is it? It's 70 past 11. That feels a bit weird, right? You never say that. Yeah, Anita is right, and let's prove that theory. That won't perfectly work. Look, if I test it, the first one works. Why the first one works? Because we're adding 0 plus 30, which is 30. The second one works because we're adding 25 plus 20, 45. But what happened in the last case? Oh, you see? 55 plus 10, yeah, technically speaking, is 65. But if speaking at human language, that's not right. We want to say it's 5 past, as Fish said before. All right, so the way to fix it is, first of all, we have to set the new minutes into the date object. We need to update the date object. So how do we do that? How do we update the number of minutes on a date?
It's not easier to return new minutes module 16.
That's interesting. That's interesting. We'll talk about it in a minute. So that's a good point, Andrea. I like that. Before that, I want to change the original date. Set minutes, that's right, Alex. With set minutes, yeah, then we can set the new minutes. And now, what do we return? How do we know the current number of minutes on the date? Correct. Once again, date.getMinutes. Yeah. Let's recap it. First of all, how many minutes I have? 20. Nice. How many minutes I want to have? The number of I had already, 20 plus 30, 50. All right? Set the date to 50 minutes, 50 past 11. And now, because we want to return the number, just return whichever the number of new minutes is. And if we run it, yeah, you get confetti. It works. Now, Andrea is suggesting a small change, or not that small. He's suggesting that, guys, return new minutes What do you think? Makes sense? It makes sense. It definitely makes sense. And I think that solution, can anybody tell me a reason? I can see pros and cons, yeah? Nothing is white or black. So can you tell me an argument in favor or against any of these two options? Which one do you prefer and why, essentially? That's the question.
I would say if you purely just wanted to know how many minutes there were, that's a more efficient way to do it than the other way. But if you wanted the actual date to update to the minutes that you needed, then that would be sufficient.
Yeah, I agree with Alex. So if you just want to know how many minutes, probably this is super simple and that's fine. If you wanted to perform a more complex operation, imagine that we don't want to return not just the minutes, also the new hour. The hour may change as well, yeah? 50 past 11 plus 10 is 5 past 12, yeah? So if you want to do something more complex, definitely this algorithm will scale better. However, can anybody tell me a reason to not to use that approach? Exactly, Andrea. That's an impure function. Do you remember what we discussed last week? So if I'm passing a date, that algorithm is pure. It's not changing my date. If I pass 20 past 11, I still have 20 past 11. However, with this algorithm, I am changing my date. So if I pass 20 past 11 and I want to add 30 minutes, my date will be modified to 50 past 11. Yeah? So pros and cons. Any?
So following the approach, I mean, not Andrea's approach. The other one is an impure function, right?
So this is an impure function because look, set minutes.
Okay.
You are changing your date. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Once again, if you have control on the code, but just be aware. Be aware at least that when you do that, you are changing the original date. We could be thinking about creating a new date, copy the time, copy the day, the week, the month, blah, blah, blah. But at the moment, as it is, that function is impure because it alters the data that it receives. Any questions? No? So let me quickly check your code. That was question number 4. Yeah, question number 4. So for instance, you see, Daria, actually, let me try to refresh the page. Why the hell I cannot zoom it out anymore? That's a bit weird. So let me try to check your code and then see what happened. Question number 4. You see, Daria, she did something slightly different, you see? So she said, hey, give me the current minutes and then add the new ones. Yeah? To me, mean could be a bit controversial from a naming point of view. Mean sounds like minimum, right? I want to talk about minutes, at least call it mins or minutes. But anyway, so if the number of minutes is greater than 60, that means we went beyond what the clock can give you, right? Then she's doing an operation, right? Give me the current minutes and then add the new ones and then subtract 60. So that's the same as what Andrea suggested, just get the modulus. I find that syntax a bit hard to read personally. Yeah? Else, then that's the happy path. If the result of adding whatever we got plus the number of minutes is below 60, for instance, 20 plus 10, fine. 20 plus 10 is 30. 30 is still a valid date. Yeah? It's good. It's a different technique. I'm not a big fan of the readability. Also moving the column to a new line, I don't find that particularly standard. I'm supposed to get some sort of warnings here. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. So, look at what Kaini suggested. Different style. That's good. So she's just returning the minutes. Yeah? But then the minutes of what? Of date set minutes. So essentially she's doing the same thing, but everything in one line, pretty much. Yeah? Everything in one line, pretty much. Did Kaini got any warning here? Any elegance warning? Indentation, correct. Yeah, so that line, Kaini, should be moved to the right. Yeah, you open parentheses, so that thing here belongs to the parentheses, so it should be moved to the right. And also, this space here is controversial. Yeah? But it's good. I like to see different coding techniques. All right, so it didn't work for Andrea, as he already suggested, because he's creating a new date object. We don't need that, because date is already a date object. And finally, for Camila, you see, I like that. I like the code. Camila is very readable. It's very clean. Date set minutes. All right, so what's the new minutes? Whatever I got before, plus the new ones. 20 plus 30. And then just return what? The new number of minutes. Cool. So Alex following Kaini, but in this case is looking after indentation and minor details. Yeah, so that's pretty much the same thing. And that's pretty much it. Any question, guys? No? Dates. Yeah, once again, dates are sometimes a bit complicated. Not because they are really complex to handle, but because you don't play with them on a regular basis. So it's easy to forget the syntax, APIs, and all this type of things. All right, cool. So keep practicing with dates. And apart from that, let me spend some minutes, 20 minutes, playing with the lower intermediate. First time we have a look to a bit more complicated questions. So question number 1, most of the questions have been created by Daria, yeah? So they're pretty new on the platform. The first one, yeah, the topic is very interesting. Unfortunately, I'm not a big fan of this question. I don't find it very readable, in my opinion, but hey, it's what it is, right? So on question number 1, we want to swap values. What that means? We receive 2 arrays, this one, another one. So we just want to, whichever array was second, now it should be first, and the array that was first, now it comes second, yeah? 2 arguments, array 1, array 2. Array 2, array 1, yeah? We just want to swap them. All right, so look at the syntax, and the syntax is also a bit weird. So we're talking about selves, so the topic is not that relevant. 2 arrays, array 1 and array 2. So now, look, we are creating a new array, you see? A new array of new self A and new self B. So in here, we are destructuring. We are creating a new array. So whatever the new A element is, that represents whatever the old B array was. Yeah? So we are swapping the elements. That's a bit confusing, in my opinion. So, which one should we select, first of all? A, B, C, or D? D. All right. Why A instead of D? Look, if you select D, that's a bit weird because you're creating an array inside of another array. We don't really want that. We got enough arrays today here, right? Simple than that. Look, you see? So look, you create a new array, and the elements are, first of all, the second element, and then the first element. So look, the second element of the array will be assigned to the new first element of the array. And the other way around. Yeah, that's a bit confusing. So the new A is what was B, and the new B is what was A. Yes, a bit confusing. So now, what do we want to return? B, A, interesting. Look at what happened if we select B. Yeah? Let's select B. Yeah? So with option B, we put first B and then A. Let's see what happened. It doesn't work. Look, it doesn't work because of 2 reasons. First of all, we have a nested array, you see? But then, did we swap, ignoring the nested array, did we swap the order of the elements? No, look, we revert what we did. So whatever was B, now is A. And whatever was A, now is B. So in this line, we swap the elements. But now, we've swapped them again. So we've revert what we've done, yeah? Because whatever was the second element that originally was the first, now is the first again, you see? So no, so that's not right. A should go before B. So should be this one? What do you think? Maybe yes? Let's have a look. Should we spread the values? What will that return if we select this option? One array. Let's see if Alex is right. Now look. How many output arrays do we have? Just one, you see? Just one. All the elements, look, paints, puzzle, blah, blah, blah. And then toy, training. So we have a single array. We flatten the array. Why? Because we have, did we spread or gather the values here? So Anita thinks we are gathering the values. No, we're spreading the values because we got the values in an array and we are open them into a comma-separated list of values. Okay? Once again, please have a look to the workshop we recorded on Friday, I believe, or Thursday maybe, about the rest parameter. So now, this would be A and B. Yeah? That question is tricky. Yeah? I have to admit that the question is hard to understand and how to explain. However, apart from this tricky question, I think the entire destructuring topic, which is new, it's like 1 week old or even less than that, is very valuable. Yeah? So once you dominate, once you master the beginner track, please start with this one. I think it's a really good question. Anything else you want to talk about? Question number 1? No? All right, so let's submit it and let's try question number 2. That's a really good question. That's probably the best question on the entire intermediate level. So that's really good one. So get vowel count. Why is it a good question? Because it takes seconds to understand the problem and it's even easy to find the value of dealing with this type of exercises, yeah? So we receive a list of words, a sentence, and we want to find how many vowels we have, yeah? A, E, I, O, U, yeah? So welcome to Codery. E, O, 5, I. 7. Yeah? Easy. On the expert, on the advanced training, there is a very similar question, but much more difficult, that says, give me the most popular vowel. It's easy to think about, right? So the most popular vowel here is A, because it's displayed 5 times. The most popular vowel here is which one? O, because O is displayed 3 times. Yeah? So that seems very similar question. Yeah? Instead of how many vowels, give me the most popular one. In reality, it's way more complicated to solve. You need to use reduce and things like that. But that's for advanced. Yeah? We'll talk about that next month for sure. Cool. So vowels. Let's try to understand the problem. So look at the list of vowels. Yeah. A, E, I, O, U. Fantastic. And then string dot split. So can anybody tell me, let me open DevTools so we can maybe do a bit of prototyping here. So if I open DevTools, sources, and then, So if I go to the list of, sorry, I'm clicking randomly on the screen, so let me assume it. Here we go. So I got a string of message equals hello Codery. Yeah. So now, if I do message.split like that, what will that return? All the elements, every letter, like that? No. One by one in an array. Okay, so fish, suggest. I'm not going to type it all, right? But, oh yes, I'll do. Because there is a space, and the space is always controversial. Like that? Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, whatever. What do you think? Do you agree with fish or not? I think fish is right. Yeah? Split, empty space, it will create an array with individual characters. So fish is right. But now, what if I change it? What if I, look at the subtle change. What if I split it with a space? What will I return now? Fish. Every letter with a space. So that will be a space before or after the letter? Probably after. What do you think, guys? Kaini. So, it's behind Alex. I didn't know where Kaini was. So Kaini said behind Big Alex. So Kaini said something, but unfortunately I didn't catch that. So can you repeat that, Kaini, please? Hello and Kodiri. That's right. So this is important, guys. You know when you go to the butcher and they chop your meat or things like that, yeah? So this is like the knife. Your knife, obviously, you know, separates the meat or the fish or the vegetables if you are vegan, I don't care, right? So the thing is, they will create an array and that will be deleted because that will separate the different elements, yeah? Space. What if I, for instance, type E? Two. Array of 2 elements. What's the first one?
H.
H. And what's the second one?
The rest of the starting.
Like that? Oh. Kaini said except E. Of course, except E. Yeah. Once again, that's the knife. So that will delete it. The word E. Yeah. So it will be that. Yeah. And what if I, the last example here, put an I? What will that return? Hello code. What do you think? Look. Yeah. Is putting a space because there is an I at the end. Yeah, that's a bit weird, right?
It's not even showing the space, is it? It's just returning nothing.
Yeah, no, but no, it's not the space. It's just an empty string at the end. That's.
Because you're picking the file.
I think. Yeah. According to the docs, probably that's because that's the last element. In other words, if I add an I at the beginning, I didn't know that, but probably if I add an I at the beginning, it will add an empty space at the beginning of the new array. Here you go. You see? That's the way JavaScript works. I didn't know that. But anyway, yes, please ignore the details of these things. Yeah, that's not a master class about a split. So just at least to give you an idea about how split works. All right, so that's the way split works. So definitely, if we got hello Kodiri, during an example that was hello, and then with the empty string that will return hello and Kodiri. Yeah? No? Then what?
Every single letter.
Correct. To see if you were paying attention. Every single letter, yeah? Do you remember that? And then E, and then L, blah, blah, blah. All right. Let's keep it with hello, guys. I don't want to type that anymore. So, hello. Yeah? What's the size of the array? It's 5, correct, Fizz. All right, cool, fantastic. Back to the problem. Who said 4? Hello has 5 characters, right? H-E-L-L-O. All right, cool. So, that's the split. And now, oh, your friend reduce. Total. So we will iterate on each character, on each letter. And then essentially, we want to check if that character is a vowel or not. If it's a vowel, we will increase the counter. Yeah? By default, we got 0 vowels, makes sense. How many vowels you have? 0. But then as soon as we find the vowel, we will increase the counter. So, actually, can we copy that to DevTools? Will that make any sense? I have no idea, to be honest. Let me try. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's cool. It works. Cool. So, let's ignore the answers because I think that question deserves some time of real coding. So, look, what's the condition? We can change that to increment total and then something else. So we want to find how many vowels our sentence has. So what's the condition? The condition is if the character is a vowel, right? How do we know if that character is a vowel or not?
Going to the vowels.
Do you want like the script language or just in English?
Yeah. No, I wanted to. I want you to tell me to solve it. Correct.
Vowels.
Vowels dot includes. What do you think, guys? Yeah, cool. That's correct, Alex. So the way you read that is, what's vowels? That's vowels. Does the list include the character? So if the character is A, that will return true. If the character is U, that will return true. But if the character is F, that will return false. All right, so first of all, if it's true, what?
Or can we increment as plus total?
So can we do that?
Yeah.
For instance, add the total. And okay, right. And what if it's not? If we got F,
Total, which is 0.
why total?
Because the default value is 0. No?
No, that's not a good answer, I'm afraid.
Returning the last total, so you're not iterating and adding it, right?
Yeah, so look, if my string is Anita, let's ignore the capital letters, yeah, to make it simple. So on the first iteration, let's do our sexy game of the reduce table. I'm sorry if that bores you a bit, but I think it's super important until you master reduce, which is not easy. So iteration number 1. So what's the value of total? Let's go one by one. So starting from Octavian. All right, anyone can help Andrea? It's 0, correct, because that's the default value, Octavian. Yeah, please watch the workshops we recorded last week. So then, so what's the value of the character Yiyun? That doesn't sound like Yiyun. So with reduce, so you can find these workshops. I know you've been away last week, Yiyun, but please refer to the workshops we recorded in the last week because we explained how reduce works, how we go from the beginning to the end of the array. So, Florin, what's the first value of the character? It's A, correct? Yeah, because we're here. So character is A. So, no A, yeah, A. So what do we, not sure if you can still see the screen, guys. Hopefully you can. So what do we return fish? So fish said we return A. That piece of code returns A. Probably the whole string. No. Anita.
It returns 1.
Why? Can you tell fish why? You are right. It returns 1. Can you tell fish why it returns 1?
Because vowels is Anita, it includes the character A. So since the condition is true, the total plus 1 is will get returned. So total is 0, 0 plus 1 is 1.
I agree on that, except he said the character Anita. Is the character Anita?
No, I said character A included in vowel Anita.
You said Anita, it's recorded.
Oh,
Anyway, ignore that. Yeah, so see, I know you understand it. So character, listen, character is A, yeah? Does this string fish include A? Yes, correct. So what are we returning to the next iteration? That. If that condition is met, it is, because A is a vowel, return total plus 1. What was total before?
0.
It was 0, correct? So what do we return now? 0 plus 1. What's 0 plus 1? 1. Yeah? But we are not done yet, of course, because now we jump to iteration number 2. And now Camila will tell me what the total is. It's 1. You see, fish, whatever the total was, gets passed to the next iteration. So that's a variable that we keep increasing when necessary.
I was just confused because it's a string, not like the full language of
No, it's never, no. Total is a number. Look, that's the default value of the number, 0. And then we keep increasing it whenever we find a vowel. So, for instance, what's the next vowel, Chuck?
Which character N?
Correct? So then, Alex, what do we return? Why 1 and not 2?
Because N is not in the string OU.
Correct.
So it's just
That's right. So fizz. Thus, is n character n included in this list of characters? No. All right. So because that's a ternary, as we've seen this morning, then we return that, whatever the total was. Yeah. We keep the number. We don't want to reset the number to 0. That wouldn't make any sense. Yeah. If we already found one character, for now, a n contains one character. That's fine. So iteration number 3, we got Kaini. What's the total? Yes, because on the last iteration the total was 1, so it's still 1. So starting again from Octavian, what's the new vowel?
I got lost a long time ago.
Okay, I will skip you to you have an excuse for today, but you know that tomorrow I'm going to ask you the same question. So I want you please today stop conflicts, stop everything, and watch the workshops about reduce. Yeah, cool. Andrea, so what's the next character? I. So what do we return? Andrea? Why 2? Why do we increment the counter? Because I is included here, so we have number 1. Yeah, 1 plus 1 is 2. Iteration number 4, Florin. What's the total?
That's 2.
So what's the character? You can continue here.
The character is T.
T. So what do we return? 2, because T is not included, so we steal the number. ANIT, in that sublist, we got 2 vowels, eh? That's why it's number 2. So now fizz. So do you know what's the total now? That's right. So what's the character? That's correct. So what do we return? 2, that's right, yeah, because H is not included, we keep the total. And finally, Anita, out of coincidence, you finish the loop, right? So what's the total? 2. What's the character? A. What do we return? 3. That's right. So Camila, iteration number 7. What's the total?
We don't have that.
Correct. That's a trap. Yeah, we finish the loop here. Yeah. A. That's it. Anita. Here you go. That's it. There is no iteration number 7. So that will be the eventual value that we return. That's vital. That exercise is extremely important because it's relatively simple, but it touches few things: reduce, ternary operator, includes, default value. Yeah. So keep practicing until your fingers start to bleed. Maybe don't go that far. Right?
Have you completed this, or do you have something else to say?
How I completed this? I don't understand the question.
While doing the exercise,
Yeah.
First I marked total plus plus for the.
Okay. Yeah. I mean that's fine. Listen. When you do total plus 1, yeah, of course you can do if you want total plus plus. That's fine. It's the same.
Yeah.
It didn't work because
Plus plus 2.
correct. What's the difference between total plus plus and plus plus total, guys?
Total plus total plus 2.
It increments and then assigns the value plus plus.
Yeah, that's a bit weird, and that has nothing to do with JavaScript. That's the way programming languages have been working since the 60s, or even earlier than that. So when you do total plus plus, that's the same as incrementing the value by 1. But you said that didn't work. It didn't work because that happens very late. That's a bit hard to explain to me, but total plus plus won't update the value yet. It will return the value first, and then it will update it. That's a bit weird. However, when you do plus plus total, it will first increase the value and then it will return it. That's a bit weird. But if you're not sure, if you don't really understand that, just keep it simple. That was fun. Yeah. All right, so let's see if we can do that. So first of all, I mean, that should be now a piece of cake, right? So what's the condition?
Vowel start in
A, B, C, or D?
B.
B,
D.
D. Yeah? So, yeah, that's correct. we need to check if the vowels, if the list of vowels include, if it includes the character, not the other way around. Yeah. Cool. And then, yeah, you see, we got the plus plus thingy. Plus plus thingy. Remember, if you want to increase a value immediately, plus plus total is your friend, because that's the first thing you will run. And that's exactly what we want to do here. Yeah? Increase the total. And then, that one?
No. A.
That one? That one?
A.
That's the total, yeah? Let's keep it as it was. And then you got confetti. Any questions, guys? No? Do you want to do one more, even though we're out of time? Or not? Yes? Guys, the last one. Anyone in particular, or should I just pick one randomly? Let me find the most valuable. Oh, that one. I love this one. Yes. I told you before that I didn't like the structuring question. I mean, I don't find it particularly useful. But this one is super cool. Also written by our friend Darian. Yeah? Look, we still in Christmas time, we want to build a list of presents for kids and everything like that. Yeah. So how many arguments our list present function receives? That's right, Andrea. Just one. Look, open parentheses. That's a single argument. What type of argument is? That's an object. That's right. And that object has a value. So what type of data the value is? An array. Correct. Yeah. So we have one argument, which is an object that contains a list of an array with a list of presents for Christmas time or whatever. Yeah. And then we just want to display a message. The kid receives, and then the first element of the array and the second element of the array. That question is really good. I love it. It's one of my favorite new questions. And the reason is, look at how cool this is. I mean, according to the exercise, here we're expected to do some magic to destructure this object and to destructure this array just to access directly the first and the second element of the list. Not sure you remember on Friday, I think it was Alex who asked, can we do like multiple destructuring in super complex fashion way? And we tried and that actually worked. And that's what we need to do here. So we need to destructure the list of arguments in a very complex way. So let's try to figure out how we do that. That's not obvious. So first of all the four, let's see if we can discard something immediately. So first of all, to destructure an object, we need the curly braces. Yes, curly. So for now, to me, all the four options make sense. Yeah? But now, so the differences are on the right-hand side, the way we destructure the array. So first and second represent elements of what? Of an array or of an object? Array. So to me, that doesn't make sense. Because here, we are trying to destructure an object. That's not right. We are trying to destructure an array on the right-hand side of the column. Yeah? So that option is wrong. And that's it. So now between A, B, and D. What's the difference? So between A and B. A, first, second, B. You see the difference is the curly braces. Here we do something weird, and here we do something equally weird, right? So what type of data first is? Is it an array? Is it a number? Is it a string? Is it an object? Is it a function? A boolean? That's right. It's a string. Because it's a string, that really doesn't make sense. We don't want to destructure a string. You see, here we're trying to destructure a string first. No. Easier than that. That's the right option for sure.
Why don't we also destructure a string?
Because it doesn't make sense to destructure a string. You can only destructure arrays or objects. That's what you destructure. In other words, very quickly, if I want to display a message here, return first first, and then, guys, do we need the dollar symbol here? Why? Correct, it's JavaScript. So if you do that, and your array, let me rename that to do stuff. List. Look at the exercise. So, I want you to tell me how to complete the exercise. You are not allowed to write anything here. So the do stuff function is literally one line. So what do I have to type here? Curly braces. What do you think about this highly controversial proposal from Kaini? Some people disagree with you, Kaini. They're telling you it's not curly braces, it's a square braces. Why square, why curly?
Because the argument is an array.
Correct. What type of data are we trying to structure? An array. Because of that, if we do that, that doesn't really make sense, yeah? That doesn't make sense. We really want to destructure an array. Yep. So then, we will save the first value of the list apple into this variable. And we will save the second variable, the second element of the array into this variable. So now we run it, first apple, second orange.
Okay, so with the restructuring, not always you need the curly brackets, because we've always had, I think, examples with the...
Correct. You have curly brackets because you want to structure an object. If you want to structure an object, name Camila, email camila@camila.camila, then name, email. So Camila, can you complete this exercise?
Yes, in the curly brackets, name, comma, and
That's right. Look. And why this is right? Because now we have an object. So if you have an object, you destructure it with curly brace. If you have an array, you destructure it with square brace.
I got a question.
Yep.
When do you put spaces before and after, before brackets, and when they, like, for destruction you have a space between your curly brace or your
Yes.
square brace. But then if you're writing, like if you're going to write an array, for example, you wouldn't have space between the brackets.
That's a good question. That's a good question. I cannot give you a strong answer, so I will have to refer to Airbnb, not to the website, Airbnb style guide, JavaScript. They definitely talk about that. So they tell you when to add spaces and all these things. But space, white space, white space. There are lots of rules here. Look, so for instance, please place one space before the leading brace. So for instance, when you create a function, add a space. That's good, that's bad. Fine, I agree on that, Please one space before opening parentheses. That's interesting. You see, if, yeah, so before parentheses, that's a good thing. To be honest, I don't usually follow that, but yeah, I mean, that's consistency, right? So that's good. And what else? Operators, yeah, of course, for readability, that's bad, that's good. But what about arrays and things like that? I'm sure it's explained somewhere. Say it again?
I saw something about...
You saw something? Where?
just next to
that one.
Yeah, okay, so what's the title? N files, no, but that's different. That's to add a new N line at the end of the file. No, arrays. I mean, if we use an example, I'm sure we'll see. Yeah, that's right. Look, for instance, you see, when talking about objects, Airbnb recommends to add spaces, which I agree on that. It's just readability. About arrays, it doesn't look like, look, it adds a space between the elements, after the comma essentially, but not between the element itself and the curly and the square brace. Yeah, that's a bit controversial.
I'm just curious.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. All right, so yeah, that's essentially the structuring. So back to the question. Yeah, why that's the right answer? Because first of all, we use curly brace because the first thing we want to destructure is an object. Yeah? The argument is an object. First of all, I want to access these presets or presets, but no, presents, sorry, present. But now, at the same time, I want to access the elements of the array because presents is an array of elements. I want to destructure them now with square bracket, first and second. That will save the first present into that variable, and likewise, we will save the second present into the second variable. Anything else? The structuring, new topic, it's like 5 days old. So once again, feel free to practice, very important. Yeah? Once again, in a job interview, you are far away from expected from doing that. Yeah? You can create a variable and then do variable.present, 0, square bracket 0, square bracket 1, blah, blah. But once again, that's a way to impress them a lot. Anything else? No? Cool. Thank you, guys.